Hi, welcome to Swole Cat Network with your favorite talk show hosts, Jake and Cooper.
Hello. Today we are welcoming one of the survivors of the ill-fated 1996 Everest expedition, John Krakauer.
Hello everybody, I'm very happy to be here.
John is from Seattle and lives with his wife and 2 kids.
So John, do you ever regret the decision on going on the trip to Everest?
In some ways I do, and in some ways I do not. It was a very, very fatal expedition, therefore I do regret it a little, but I am one of the very few select people that has climbed Mount Everest, so I do not regret it in that way at all.
So John, what is this journal that you're holding?
It is my top secret diary that holds all the memories I had during this Everest expedition. To me it is my pride and joy. It helps me remember those deceased, and it also lost my train of thought. Totally lost it.
John, why do you think you survived?
I feel like I was extremely lucky, and I also had the help of some extremely good guides. They made sure that my safety was the #1 priority, and although a lot of them didn't make it, they made sure that I did, but I feel like it was mostly luck.
That's really interesting. Tell me, going back, what would you have done differently?
I would have stayed home. Ha 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 ha. But in all seriousness, I would have gone back and helped with the effort to save the ones farther behind me. Also, I wish I had had more Himalayan climbing experience because it would have really come in handy during this journey.
So John, what is this journal that you're holding?
This is my top secret diary with all my memories of climbing Mount Everest. It is my pride and joy, and it helps me remember all those that died and all the memories, good and bad, that I had climbing this amazing mountain.
Do you feel any guilt about the expedition? If so, what guilt holds you down the most?
Well, I do feel guilt, and I have written about this guilt in my diary. Most of the guilt I feel is from me not being able to go back and help with all the people that were stranded in the storm. So yes, every day I do feel guilty about the expedition.
So would you say that that diary is a symbol of your own guilt?
Absolutely, yes.
So John, in your opinion, what do you think was the real disaster? The commercialization of Everest, which led to inexperienced climbers, or the actual blizzard itself?
I think it was equally both. I think that because Mount Everest has been so commercialized, there are a bunch of inexperienced climbers with excessive ambition trying to climb the mountain, and when there is a bad blizzard or a bad storm, they're not experienced enough to know what to do during these times, and it also wears out the guides because they're having to risk their lives to save these inexperienced climbers.
Adding on to what Jake said, what do you feel was the most tragic part of the trip?
I think the most tragic part was definitely all the fatalities, and knowing that there really wasn't a whole lot we could do about it, and having to go on living knowing that all those people died during that expedition.
And this wraps up the first half of our morning talk show. We would like to thank John Krakauer for coming on our show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, John.
Anytime.
After a short commercial break, we will return to discuss the commercialization of Everest with our expert, Michael Costa. Thank you.
And have a good day.
He has climbed 7 different mountains on 3 different continents. He has successfully raised a family and survived the Everest disaster. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always climb Everest, but when I do, I wear a camelback. Two-step it, my friends.
Hello, welcome back to Swole Cat Network. With the second half of our segment today, we've been graciously invited into the home of Everest expert Michael Costa. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.
So, Mr. Costa, what do you think about the so-called commercialization on Everest?
Well, it is a very serious problem due to overpopulation of the mountain, pollution, and many deaths due to the inexperience of climbers.
So, what do you mean by overpopulation of the mountain?
Well, with so many people trying to climb the mountain, there can be traffic jams around important places such as the Khumbu Icefall between various climbing groups.
So what do you think draws the inexperienced climbers onto Everest?
Many of those climbers just flat out think they're better than they are. They have this ambition within themselves to climb this mountain, but they're just not capable of doing that. That, coupled with the advertisements that just make Everest look easy to climb, bring many climbers that just shouldn't be there.
This ambition causes many inexperienced climbers to go higher than they should while on the mountain?
Yes, many climbers go higher on the mountain than they should. This can be shown by the fact that over 200 people have died while climbing, and 15 died alone in the year of 1996.
I think are some solutions that could be implemented on the mountain within the next few years?
I think the standard of climbers should be raised. They should have to meet a series of qualifications before attempting to climb. They should be more experienced, maybe climb some shorter mountains and be able to show that they have the ability to climb. That will limit the amount of traffic jams, fatalities. It'll just help in many different ways.
And that wraps up our show for today. We would like to thank you all for tuning in to Swolecat Network, and a big thank you to Mr. Michael Costa for having us over to conduct this interview. We will see you next week, and until then, stay classy, Marcus High School.
I don't always drink beer.
That's really interesting. Tell me.